so this first one says, and so it's a follow-up of a previous question. Dear Helen, following my last email to you about repressed memories and neglect and abuse as a young child are coming up at the moment. Unfortunately, the inquiry you suggested doesn't seem to help, as inquiries like, is it really true that ... just seem to be like squashing them back down, and spiritual bypassing. Could you say anything more about this, as I may have misunderstood you, and I'm wondering if it may be different for people who have experienced severe childhood trauma. Also, I wasn't clear about the journaling you suggested, as it seems to help journaling about the actual memories and how I felt then, but I think you were suggesting to journal in a different way. Many thanks and gratitude. So, even severe childhood trauma that we may have been through, it is a very acute form of fear, but it is nonetheless still fear and can be dealt with the same way through inquiry into what we really are, as we've just been doing, because the field cannot be hurt, cannot be damaged, cannot be anything, can only damage our body. It cannot damage us ever, and only the body will come to an end and is going to age and all of that, and not the field itself. As to the inquiry, asking, is it really true? I think we suggested that I'm not safe when it comes to fear. Fear is, the fear emotion is a reflection of a deeply held idea that I'm not safe. And it's not up here. We may feel quite safe up here. We may have a job and a good income and a stable life, but inside, somewhere inside, there is still this kind of small child that feels very, very unsafe. And when we're asking in contemplation, is it really true? We're actually really asking. And it's not the words per se, is it really true? It's the energy with which we're asking, is it really true I'm not safe? Because the fear is from the assumption that that is true. So we're asking with an openness to see, with a willingness to see, a curiosity. I'm actually really willing to find out. If I ask this question and I'm really not actually safe, at least I'll know, rather than guessing and thinking so. So the inquiry is not, actually it's the direct opposite. It is impossible to bypass when you're contemplating something openly and honestly. I really would like to know if this is true. And in fact, not questioning is bypassing, because I'm agreeing with the assumption that this thing is true and I'm not examining it. Therefore, I'll keep feeling the emotions coming up. The emotion will continue to come until I question the story that is the root, the belief that is the root behind it. So when you were a child, you can probably remember trying to take something apart just to see how it worked. There was a curiosity and innate innocence in that. I used to watch my dad take apart his car engine and put it back together again, over and over again, just because I was fascinated with how it worked. There was a curiosity about how this thing worked. And this is the kind of energy we want to come to contemplation with. Is this really true? Let me actually let me take apart this belief and look at it. Let me pick it apart with a spanner and see if it's actually so. With an open curiosity, looking right at it. Is it true for me? Is it true for me now? Has it ever been true for me that I'm not safe? And that openness is the direct antidote to believing and to bypassing. Believing is bypassing, actually. So we're actually wanting to find out. We're actually looking directly and find out if it's true rather than assuming. That's not bypassing. It's going to make it impossible to do that. As to the journaling, I would journal about your results, what insights and aha moments you're having from the contemplative questions behind it. It is traumatic events obviously leave us with a residue of fear, which may come also with a sense of overwhelm that I can't look at this because it's too strong. But you can just look at how much you can look at in that moment. Ask the question, is this really true? And when you feel that you've looked at enough of it, you stop. You can come back to it later when you're calmer. You don't have to get it all done in one go. So I hope that helps to kind of, it's the energy behind the words. Why are you asking the question? Why are you asking this question? And the self, the field, it's kind of open, isn't it? It's open, and it isn't shying away from anything. Everything is equally present within it. And that's kind of the energy that we're coming. Another word for the field is also love, so we're loving this belief. We're really wanting to see it and see if it's true.